Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Zainab Khoso. Today we are going to have a presentation related to a book named The Three Questions. Me and my team have divided the topics. The first 4 topics are going to be presented by me. So, officially, let's dig into the presentation. The first topic of my presentation is The Three Pearls of Wisdom. Here I am going to summarize the first chapter of my topic, in which an old man was driving his wagon down a country road. Due to heavy rain, the drive was quite tough as compared to normal days. As the wagon plunged into a deep hole, the wheel broke off. The man tried to struggle with the wheel but soon realized that he's not that strong to cope up with the problem alone. The man stood there, wet and cold, and at the very next moment, he heard footsteps running towards him. That was a farmer boy who was going back to his destiny after working whole day. When the boy came closer to the old man, he got to know that the man is suffering with a problem and decided to help him with it. While fixing the wheel, the boy kept talking to the old man. He was a young man and wanted to discover the world as much as he can, and to find answers to life's biggest mysteries. He wanted to know more about love. Within an hour, the job was done and it was time to say goodbye. The old man wanted to reward the boy but didn't find anything in his pockets. He offered him the 3 pearls of wisdom. The old man began to speak. To find your way, you must need answers of only 3 questions. Number 1, first you must ask yourself, who am I? Number 2, you must know what is real. And third, and last, you must ask yourself, what is love? Now, as I'm done with the first topic, now let's start the second chapter of this book named Opening the Door. Simple stories invite us to reflect on our own lives, one way or another. They represent everyone's story. If a story is good, it has the power to inspire questions and encourage us to look for answers. If a story is very good, it can get under our skin and dare us to see the truth. It can open new doors of perception, and these stories leave us a choice to be challenged by the truth or to close the door and continue walking a familiar path. This book is for those who are willing to see the truth of themselves. It is for those willing to ask what is real and to go through unfamiliar doors. Life is eager to begin a new conversation with you. If you're willing to listen and to change, your world can be transformed. We humans are like today as just because the way our nervous system responded to light millions of years ago. Human beings live their life as they wanted it to be governed. No one is perfect in this world. If we be asked that we had to show for humanity's year of evolution, what would you say? Would you say that we are free of worry and conflict? Or would you say that you understood to become the best human being you can be? It would be wonderful to say that in beliefs no longer drive us to do terrible things. Now, as I have officially ended the second chapter and I hope there is no confusion related to it, now I'm going to start the third chapter of this book, which is the first pearl. Who am I? You will know who you are when you see who you are not. We think we know each and everything related to our lives. You may believe you're the reliable one, the optimistic one. You have probably decided you're either an introvert or extrovert. When we face any trouble or go through trauma, we are sometimes shocked. It could be that we never realized that we could be that strong in our life. There's also a point in life where we're ready to admit that we have changed. We are not the person who we thought we were. Asking yourself, who am I, means taking the first step back to authentically our truth. Our instinct is so clinged to the picture we have of ourselves, which makes any new discoveries impossible. Questioning who we are gives us a chance to bring down a few walls, a few stubborn beliefs, and reconnect with life. Now, let's move towards the final chapter of my presentation. Ever since you have remembered, you have given the main character of your story power to determine your reality. It has the authority to talk, think, and make decisions that affect your body and your world. It tells you what to believe and how to invest your beliefs with emotional energy. You call the main character in your ongoing story me. Let's take a minute to understand what the word me means in this context. Me is the person you expect as your real self. You talk about yourself all the time, right? You say me, mine, and myself countless times in the course of an ordinary conversation. Through me, you say things like, "Hey, this is important to me," or "Are you listening to me?" or what are they saying about me?" Me is everything you believe you are. Me is everything related to the character you forged out of core beliefs and countless experiences. The word me or its counterpart in any language is a simple pronoun, and like every word in the language we speak, it has no meaning until we agree upon a meaning. The difference is that me comes with a lot of baggage, past memories, judgments, and automatic assumptions. We put a lot of faith in our identity and expect it to matter to other people, who we think we are develops into a mythology. We share the myth of me with old friends and new acquaintances. We tell stories about ourselves. We send photos to back up our stories. We celebrate me in so many ways. It's interesting to see how each of us creates a personal reality. It's also interesting to see just how far we go to defend that reality. Rather than defend it, we can make it better. It takes a few basic insights to pull off a revelation. First, it's important to see how the system was put into place. It's helpful to see how we got here, wherever we were or we are, and what we can do to change our world. We can explore ways to transform the one who's describing that world to us. Awareness is the ability to see what is, and it's never too late to open our eyes. Thank you for patiently listening to my presentation. Now I will hand over the next part of my presentation to Ariha Anwar. Thank you. Assalamualaikum, it's me Ariha Anwar. The book named The Three Questions. I am here to discuss these topics: one mind, one community, the mind as government, justice, and judge. In this lesson, we have learned about the families, communities, power, leadership, and in order to lead a simple, successful life, one must be brave and willing to explore her real self. The atmosphere in which we spend our whole childhood, we grow up in, have a high impact on how we act as adults. How we act around in a family under many rules and regulations made by our forefathers or heads of the family, and how much capability we have to recognize our inner power. Our parents teach us discipline to avoid any danger, so that in adulthood we as a nation are capable to maintain a good friendly environment and help the community to build more and more success by following country's rules and regulations, and by questioning our own rules we can enjoy the freedom to act and react truthfully. We can start the journey legality. The government, which we know about, has three main branches: a legislative, an executive, and a judicial branch. The legislative branch of any government is called Congress. All branches have different effects on governments and folks, and by living in a home, community, or government full of rules, and by respecting someone's opinion, we can observe that we get better along with people who respect your laws and accept your views, and it's an act of love. Also, if our opinion is different from others, we should explain it with kindness instead of arguing, imposing, because it doesn't only has bad effect on the society, but also it renews our peace of mind. Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammad Khazama, and my book name is The Three Questions. I've been given chapter 8, The Commander in Chief, by our leader Ans Naim. In this book, the author is telling us about who are we. He's saying that we are not our body, but we are the guardian of its welfare. We are not the story we tell. We are not actually the main character of those stories. He's also saying that we are actually responsible for the message we deliver through our body, through our mind, through our words. In chapter 8, the author also says that humans are actually social animals. They all want peace. They all want to feel that their world is safe. They all want to live a happy life here. He also tells that when travels from one place to another, they see different cultures, different traditions, and different places. In chapter 9, the second pearl, the author is telling us about what is real. He says that nothing we imagine is actually real. He tells us to suppose as if the brain is the mirror. For example, if we stand in front of the mirror and we reach our hands, we will not touch the image. Instead, we will touch the glass. We will touch the glass and not the image, just because what we are seeing in the mirror is just the reflection. Author says that we should find an emotional balance between our life and the and our daily tasks. And he says that there are certain things which could just happen if we start imagining them. In the end, if the question arises, what is real? Then the answer will be, we will know what is real when we accept what is not real. In chapter 10, Life Under Tyranny, author tells us about that there is only one truth, one fact, which is energy. Energy is the force that creates and sustains the universe. And there are some certain synonyms that we can use for energy. For example, life, truth, love, and intent. And they all are focused towards the same thing. Basically, what is energy? And energy is life. Uh, the author is saying that reality is not what we can imagine or what we do imagine. It is actually living in the moment, enjoying the moment, and thanking God for the moment that we are living today. The person we think we are has changed over the years. We have become or acted as more selfish, more reckless. We are actually changed, and we are changing constantly. He also tells that every single human being sees the reality differently, a little different or a lot different. It depends upon every individual. Reality basically changes with the changing circumstances or the imaginations the human uses. For example, if any kind of traumatic event happens in our life, we are traumatized for a specific time period, and the world does not remain the same. Our daily routines, our daily tasks are disturbed, and our routine is disrupted. For example, if a car accident happens and a family dies, the other remaining family members will be traumatized for a certain period of time. Even breathing is difficult for them. They'll feel abandoned or heartbroken by life. The law of life is basically creating and creating and creating and never stop creating. Transformation is basically life's chief characteristic. Energy transforms. Energy can never be destroyed, and if you say life is an energy, then life cannot be destroyed. Then rather, it can only be transformed, and it can never stop. It is everywhere. It is infinite and eternal. Why are we? Why have we created prisons for ourselves, and our bodies live within them? We got fought, and then we fight back, and this traps continues. We want to know what real freedom feels like, but what is stopping us?
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sarah Muzaffar. I'm from BS Accounting Finance 2A. My book name is The Three Questions, and the chapter which I have been given is chapter 11, Getting Out of Jail. In this chapter, the author is talking about teenagers and their thoughts that in teenage we all think that we are so much restricted by our parents or elders that we feel like we are imprisoned. We all at that stage want to escape that prison of home and family, but even in adulthood, some people feels like they are imprisoned by someone or some circumstances that they want to get free from it. So here the main point of or the fact where author wants to divert our attention is this impulse to be free is natural, but who is really standing in our way? According to author, the freedom begins with ourselves first, like no matter how unfair circumstances we are facing, but we people bound ourselves like we oppressed ourselves by thinking what people will think, by having fears and believing in superstitions. So author is saying if we actually want to get free or want to get out of jail, we should think about ourselves first, because no one would better know us except us. No one would ever punish us for breaking unwritten rules which we are believing since childhood except us. We should do whatever we want to do, whatever we think is right, because the freedom we think that actually counts is the freedom we actually grant ourselves. We are our own rules makers. We are one who enforces those rules and who can rewrite those rules so we can break out of jail free anytime. In chapter 12, The Diplomat, the author is saying so that they can communicate with other countries and connecting them. So does our body use an ally. It is a mind that listens to itself and rejects thought stories of hate. Our body wants the company of other bodies, but our mind, our internal government, often has a different agenda to avoid continuing conflicts within us. We need to use a diplomatic skills for a different purpose. Moreover, the author is saying I we should say I promise I won't hurt you more often. It sounds odd, but it is an important message to give the body. And giving some other positive messages like it will be easy for you to become little honest with yourself. The body can also take part in mending relationship with your mind too. When the relationship between me and the body word works well, all our relationships improve. We become more generous without trying. We don't have to play roles. We don't have to twist ourselves into shapes to please other people. We don't need lies. The language that the mind speaks to the body is the language we speak to everyone. We meet everyone if it creates the kind of reality we think we deserve, but our human body deserves far more than we have given it. It deserves, above all, the happiness that comes from a sane and peaceful mind. In chapter 13, Peace and Sanity, the author is saying there is always a main character without which we cannot imagine ourselves. It gets difficult for us to imagine a moment or two without our own voice chatting in our heads. By giving some attention to our inner narrative as we go through the day, we can make real changes. Thoughts will respond, words will obey. By directing our efforts towards mental peace and calm, we can rise above the noise. If we want to change, desire is a motivating force. If we will wait for the correct timing and our mood, nothing would change. Action is vital to our evolution. Ideally, desire moves us towards patience. The power of love, loving what we do, leads to inspiration. Desire can be of both types. Sometimes it motivates us, it guides our passion, and sometimes it leads to obsession. We get obsessed to one thing that we cannot see any other thing. Passion is a good thing, but obsession can destroy many things. It will devastate our world and many of the people in it. See fear for what it typically is, the body's response to me. Most of us spend our lives running from our own voices. We run from our own thoughts because we believe them. They scare us, they defame us, and still we believe them. The author is advising us to use our own senses and bypass thinking altogether, play with life the way we used to before there was a government operating in us, back before there were laws, penalties, and a president to answer to. Quiet down and open up emotionally, let life play with you. Then we might be ready to accept the truth about love.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ans Naim and I am going to present the ending of the book, The Three Questions, written by Miguel Ruiz, which concludes three chapters in one part. In the ending, Miguel Ruiz, with his profound guide that take us deeper into the tradition of Toltec wisdom, helping us find and use hidden power within us to achieve our fullest lives. In the Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz introduced seekers on the path to enlightenment to the tenets of Mesoamerican spiritual culture. The ancient Toltec, now he takes us deeper into Native American practice and asks us to consider essential questions that drive our lives and govern our spiritual power. Three essential questions can help us into our power and use it judicially. First question, who am I? The second one, what is real? The third, how do I express love? At each stage in our lives, we must ask these simple yet deeply profound questions. Finding the answers will open the doors to the next stage in our development and eventually lead us to our complete, truest selves. But as Don Miguel Ruiz makes clear, we suffer it if we do not ask these questions, or if we fail to pay, or if we fail to pay, or if we fail to pay attention to their answers, because we either never act on our power or use it destructively. Only when power is anchored in our identity and in reality will it be able to be in sync with the universe and be of true benefit to ourselves and to others. The three questions provide a practical framework that allows readers to engage with Ruiz's transformative message and act as a vehicle for overcoming fear and anxiety and discovering peace of mind. An essential guide for all travelers pursuing self knowledge, understanding, and acceptance. The three question is the next step in our unique spiritual metamorphosis. Thank you.